D. Man is known for having the Noah as its villains, but little did you know just how powerful these bunch of bodyguards and apostles really are. Who's the weakest and who's the strongest out of all of them? Stay tuned to find out. Number 9, Fedora. With this walking parasite of a Noah, he'd be able to use his powers to actually hold any exorcist hostage with utter ease, because he'd be able to put his parasite powers inside of Chaoji and Lavi. With these parasites inside of a body, he would easily be able to use anyone who was unlucky enough to become a host as a visual aid, meaning that he would be able to see whatever any exorcist in the Black Order or any host that the parasite embodied was seeing. These parasitic powers would allow Fedora to be able to spy on anyone and anything, giving him an immense tactical advantage when it comes to being ahead of anyone he's fighting, giving him clairvoyance at a pretty disgusting level, literally. And of course, it wouldn't just stop at spying on people, because these powers, of course, would be able to inflict pain, making it so that anyone that had these parasites would be the perfect hostages for any of the Noah. These parasites would cause pain, and this pain would be something that you would not even be able to notice, with you dying without even having the slightest idea as to why. This is easily one of the best abilities to have when it comes to using stealth, but stealth wouldn't be Fedora's only strong suit. You see, this Noah would be able to fight up close and personal and take on any exorcist with just his brute strength alone. Easily. He would just be able to use the most inhuman part about him, which would really just be the torso of his body, which happens to be a giant mouth. With this insane amount of teeth coming from his stomach, Fedora can use this mouth as a way in order to be able to attack people at a range. And even so, he could use this defensively by absorbing any shock or even the flames from a talisman itself. Fedora would be able to eat any attack that is trying to affect him, and this would allow him to be completely unscathed. Now, is there a limit to what kind of attacks that he can eat and get away with not being damaged at all by? It's really hard to tell, but he would be this low on the list because he would be taken down by the likes of Link with just the use of talismans. You could probably write this entire situation off as a joke or not, but with that being said, Fedora would end up getting beat by a guy who would struggle against a level 2 Akuma. Yes, this fight between Link and these Akuma is definitely debatable, but I don't think any, and I do mean any other Noah, is going to let this kind of thing happen to them. Number 8. Road. Now, this is definitely more of a controversial one, because it's really easy to just say that Road is in her own league, because her abilities would just eclipse anything that anybody in D. Man is actually even capable of. Unfortunately, strength is just going to have to be something that we take away from Road here, because really, she fights with a lot of tact and wits. Also, manipulation would be one of the best aces in her deck, making her fighting style a very deceptive and intelligent one. This isn't to say that she's not strong at all, because she has one thing that can inflict a lot of pain on anyone she wants, and that would be her candles. The candles that she would use as a ranged attack would shred anyone that it would touch, leaving hundreds upon thousands of different candles with edges that could bleed surrounding a single target. They could even attack all at once. How does anyone survive getting hit by any of these? A single candle would cause Alan to shriek in pain and terror, with it puncturing his eye, and as we know, Alan is someone that can easily take a lot of pain and punishment due to his insane willpower. And with that, he's come a long way. Now, this brings the question, what exactly would happen if all the candles at her disposal would attack a person at once? It would most likely turn them into a puddle of blood and mincemeat. That, on top of how much pain a single candle can inflict, really just makes you think that this attack could practically be an insta-kill. Given the pain and the sheer amount of objects being thrown at you at once, I just don't see anyone surviving. And if you some way, somehow do, Road has something a little bit more crazy than a physical attack that she could use, and that would be a mental one. By digging deep into the hearts of her victims, Road can force them to live through their own traumatic experiences, which happens to be very convenient and can actually be used strategically, making any unlucky person actually bend a Road's whim, causing some of the mentally toughest and the most battle-hardened exorcists to even fall victim to losing their own heart. And this would be all because Road would have them experience her unsettling wave of illusions, making illusions become so surreal to a point that you would be practically killing your own friends and family at a moment's notice, clearly making you feel exactly what it feels like to kill any and every single one of them. Undoubtedly, this would end up destroying your will and your sense of thought and reasoning, making it so that when you lose your heart, you would just so happen to also lose your mind, making you no longer have a mind of your own. However, even with your entire body being under Road's control, there are still possibilities to retain control of your own body. Even while being in this same vision that Road controls, you can damage yourself and make it so that your entire body is getting its own feelings back, giving you your consciousness back. And Lavi would do this when he would be undergoing Road's torture through her illusions. Not only are you able to retain consciousness while being inside of this space that Road can manipulate, you can even find her inside this same vision and do damage to her. You see, one of Road's strongest traits is the very fact that she cannot be hurt at all, because she can make it so that her entire body cannot be damaged, because after all, when you're fighting her, you won't actually be attacking her, because her real body will be in another plane of existence, making it so that you will not actually fight her at all. However, if you do end up finding where her real body is, you can actually kill her, making it Road's biggest weakness. And finding ways to exploit this weakness would be the main difference maker when it comes to victory and defeat for Road. Now we would have Cheryl Kamelot. And of course, this may come as a surprise to some of you, because Cheryl's ability is so simple when it comes to being compared to Road's ability. After all, he is Road's father, so that is something to definitely think about. But Cheryl's ability would consist of using strings. These strings would be very powerful. Honestly, it would make him one of the strongest string users I've ever seen in an anime, letting these strings have the ability to not only make anyone bend to Cheryl's will, but they can quite easily get killed all the same because of the sheer force his strings would have when it comes to making contact with any, and I do mean any, objects and people, with these strings being able to completely snap and dismember limbs and body parts in the blink of an eye. These strings themselves would be very well hidden in plain sight, with most people never even catching on to them at all. And by the time they do realize that these strings actually exist, it's already been too late, and their bodies would have been completely taken control of. Now, Cheryl's use of these strings would be second to none, with him easily being able to grab huge groups of people at once, leaving them not even able to move a finger, because they would be completely under his control, doing anything that he wants them to do. With the amount of people who can be seemingly controlled at one time looking limitless, really, it just depends on how many people are available to be spun by his strings. And this isn't even taking into consideration just how much string he has exactly. With the odds of him actually running out, it's pretty hard to say, because all the while having an entire branch of the Exorcist Corporation under his control, he would still be able to manipulate the immense wires and tubes that would have been used in Alma's water tank. Cheryl is easily able to completely possess these tubes and use them as weapons, and even power up Alma himself. When it comes to Cheryl, manipulating objects and people really do go a long way. Now, why exactly would he get this spot above Road? This would be due to the fact that he would be able to easily manipulate Road's candles by controlling them with his strings, but also if he were to be able to get pulled in Road's manipulation of space, it'd be completely easy for his strings to find her and then control her and actually damage her. Even if this isn't the case, he would still easily be able to beat her if he is not pulled into her different dimension of space, because he would just simply control the version of her that is nigh invincible, making the fight fruitless completely, because Road would be under his control and there wouldn't be a fight at all, and he would practically have won. Alright, since you made it this far in the video, make sure to like the video and also subscribe to the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you want to support us so that we can drop more content a lot more frequently, make sure to check out our Patreon in the pinned comment below. And now we have Lulu Bell, with Lulu having a really powerful ability, with this ability allowing this Noah to shapeshift into any form that she chooses. There are no limits here. The only limitation would be Lulu's creativity. She can easily fight back anything, any which way she wants. And her ability can have her fulfill out any sort of fighting style that she wants to perform in a fight. She could be stealthy, she could be all out aggressive, and even stall an entire battleground of different exorcists, leaving all of their attention on herself. She has some of the best possibilities for defense I've ever seen. And not only this, but her ability would give her the pristine opportunity of completely fooling the entire Black Order by shapeshifting into one of their regulars. With everyone being none the wiser, this was the perfect opportunity for the Noah to completely take advantage of all of the exorcists in their own base. All thanks to a simple shapeshifting ability. With this ability being so simple, it can be used in some very complex ways. Lulu herself would ingeniously shapeshift the size of her arm when taking a hit at Alan, which would make it so that the damage itself would not only hurt Alan more so than it already would, but this would also make the range of her attack be increased as well, letting her hit people out of her reach. And she would do all of this in an instant. One of her more intricate uses of shapeshifting would be turning into water itself. You know, turning into water doesn't really sound too crazy, but what makes this special is what exactly is being done with the water itself. This body possessed by Lulu that is able to shapeshift makes it so that she can drown opponents in her own body, making her not only able to get some easy kills, but damaging water itself also sounds insane. Good luck to anyone trying to actually attack her, because on her own she would be able to fend off two exorcists that would have reached the ranking of general inside the Black Order. So yes, Lulu Bell with just shapeshifting is able to fight off two generals of the Black Order, with the numbers slowly turning to 3 with Cross himself joining the battle. She would still shapeshift her body and make it so that she could grow multiple limbs to fight back multiple generals at once. And not only this, but the properties of her body would also shift. This ability, alongside her on-the-fly thinking, is what allows her to fight such strong members of the Order at all. Of course, she would earn this spot because not only would Cheryl's strings be arguable against her, but her shapeshifting could make it so that Cheryl's strings might not work against her depending on what kind of form she also takes. And not only this, but she would also be able to fight Road in her dimension by taking the shape of anything that could kill Road easily. For instance, she could just grow her body in size and easily just drown anyone inside her own body, and do so much more, because after all, this is shapeshifting. David and Jazdero have a disgusting ability, with this ability making it so that anything that these two Noahs think of can actually happen. If they think it, it will happen. This ability is completely ridiculous. I don't know how anyone can actually fight this back. The only thing that would make it so that these two actually lose a fight is if they're so dumb that they can't end up thinking of what they both want, or if they just can't make up their minds at all. Between Jazdero and David, they both have to think of the same exact outcome. Now, when it comes to thinking of this outcome, it is definite and it will happen, making fighting them an experience you'll never forget, because they can just about make anything happen. And if they just can't pull off their insane ability, they still have something very special about them, with their bullets having special properties. With their guns, their weapons would have completely different ammo types, which makes some pretty insane things happen. With Blue Bomb, a bullet will freeze anything that it hits, With red bomb, they'd even be able to shoot a miniature planet at any of their opponents, and when using white bomb, they can completely stop one of their own attacks that have been reflected right back at them. Now, whether or not they can negate any and every attack that approaches them is a completely different story, but their bullets have some crazy potential. With purple bomb, they can obstruct anyone's vision and making it impossible to perceive Jasdero and David, making this perfect for stealth and even stalling anyone. For instance, they would stall Alan in this situation, with the paint from the purple bomb never even coming off of anyone that they want to blind. Both of these Noah can get really creative when it comes to tricking opponents, because they could have one key on the floor and make you think that there are actually thousands. Their illusions actually end up being really crafty when they need to be. I don't think it takes a genius to tell that they have a really open-ended way of fighting, and not only this, if they use their green bomb and it makes contact with whatever they're aiming at, this green bomb will end up suffocating anybody that it comes into contact with, completely suffocating Alan, for example, making it so that he can no longer even breathe, let alone even fight. And this materialization would only hit a new level with them being able to summon the Millennium Earl, and Alan stating himself that their manifestation of the Earl would be as strong as the Earl. Now, of course, this would only be limited to their actual imagination. With this same imagination of theirs, being able to take on Alan and Alistair at the same time. And this would be when David and Jasdero are just simply messing around. For the sake of specifics, this is the best time to bring it up, but they would be able to materialize things from the use of their bullets, yet when they're no longer messing around and they get serious and they fuse to become Jasdevi. Jasdevi has no limits to materialization. Whatever Jasdevi thinks of actually happens. By thinking Alan is a bomb, they can easily turn Alan into a bomb and make him explode. It doesn't stop here, because Jasdevi would be at a completely different level, outclassing a majority of exorcists physically with speed, strength, and power that would be able to create the idea of the strongest being in Jasdero and David's minds. Jasdevi can even fight at a range by manipulating his hair, and not only this, but with each and every attack, shockwaves are sent that will completely destroy an opponent from the inside out, and not only that, it will send them flying back easily, giving Jasdevi enough time to think about what they want to materialize. Finally, we would have one of Jasdevi's most notable finishers, creating a literal coffin that will impale and kill anyone on contact, making the materialization of this very coffin able to come out of the ground and easily trap anyone inside. Personally, I don't think it's hard to see why Jasdevi would even be this high. Now, this is easily one of the most aggressive fighting styles that would be on this list, with the Noah in question being Skin Bullock. Skin Bullock would have an ability that would turn any and every fight into a horrible endurance test that he's gonna clearly have the advantage in. Just by hitting him, you will end up taking damage for fighting him back. How do you fight this? I really cannot tell you. I'm still surprised that Skin actually managed even losing a fight. With over millions of volts of electricity, just by hitting him, this electricity will pass through your entire body. Now, how is anyone surviving while fighting him? I really don't know at all. His ability would be even more insane to deal with, because he can summon chains that come from inside your entire body, making him have complete control in a fight, leaving you at his mercy to be swung around and thrown anywhere and everywhere. And it's perfect for him to just simply pull you in and shock you with even more of his own electricity. Fighting Skin is quite literally punishment, and I don't know how anyone can actually beat him. Yet he would be one of the only Noahs to actually lose and die. The chains that Skin attaches to you are completely unbreakable. Really thinking about it, if he uses these chains, there's not much anyone can actually do. And if he really doesn't feel like letting you hit him, even though you're going to get damaged by hitting him, he can attack you with his lightning wheels and shoot at you from a distance. Skin can win a fight really easily when you take all of his power into consideration. This ability doesn't seem that strong, but it actually will take this Noah a very long way. Wisely would have the ability to read anyone's thoughts, making it so that when he reads your mind, he's just going to be able to figure out any kind of strategies or combat plans that you're going to use, and he's going to counter them with little to no effort. And not only that, he can make you experience your own memories and someone else's memories whenever he wants. Not only that, but one of his strongest moves would be the fact that he can make your brain explode, leaving you dead in seconds. This makes Wisely a force to be reckoned with. It's really hard to even think about beating someone that can read your mind and kill you just by sending pulses to your brain. With Wisely being able to kill people so easily and being able to read anyone's mind, it is easy to see why he's this high on the list. You're not beating mind reading and brain shattering. It's just that simple. For lack of a better word, Tyki Mikk is broken. He can make it so that any solid objects can pass through him and cannot pass through him as long as he wills it. Meaning that with a skillful enough use of his power, you will never even get the opportunity to hit him. But he can hit you as much as he wants. So much so that he can put his entire arm through you and then grab your heart and crush it with utter ease. And this would be because Tyki can pass through anything and it will never even hurt him. He can pass through solid objects and his arm will be in tip-top condition. By being able to pass through anything, he has a clear advantage above anyone that he's up against, because they will not be able to do anything to him, but he can do whatever he wants to you. Tyki has the power to completely kill anyone with no effort, and I can't stress this enough, because even when he does actually get pushed to putting in some kind of effort when he wants to fight someone, he can create a vacuum that will make air repel, and anyone trapped inside of this vacuum will no longer be able to even breathe, and you can simply be trapped inside of this vacuum bubble and you will die in no time flat. And when Tyki does this, he'll do this just because he feels like it. While you're trapped suffocating in this same exact vacuum, he can walk into this vacuum and not be affected by it, and he can just so easily finish you off. There's literally nothing you can do. Some way, somehow, if you're fighting Tyki, it can only get worse, because when he awakens as a Noah, he will be able to have increased strength, increased speed, and he's a lot more aggressive, and his attacks are also on a new level, with his speed making it hard for Alan to even keep track of him in a fight. His blood would become black, and by using the dark matter, he'd be able to create shock waves with each and every punch, so that with every punch that does not connect to an opponent, he is still able to damage them. He would be described as unstoppable, with every single raining punch completely overwhelming anyone he's fighting and destroying the very location he would be fighting at. And he would not have to make direct contact with anything to destroy it with just a single punch. The most anyone could do against this guy is run away, but even then, it's not going to matter because he's fast enough to catch you in the blink of an eye. Fighting awakened Tyki, you're practically dead. You're definitely dead. And that's not all. If he's not crushing you with just his bare hands, his tentacles will overwhelm you and destroy you. With just his killing intent behind them, they will suffocate you and kill you. Tyki is one of the last Noahs I think anyone would ever want to fight. Now we would have the strongest of them all. The no-brainer, the Millennium Earl. Now, with the Earl being the leader of the Noah would end up being his bodyguards, and for good reason, because this guy is a monster, and he would have some of the best swordsmanship in the entire series, easily destroying Alan with his own newfound sword which can easily turn anyone evil at a single swipe. The Earl can easily find anyone and tap into their negative emotions, turning them into an Akuma off of a whim if he wants to, which practically gives him free reign for the manipulation of every single human being across the globe. Not only is he able to just devour souls and turn people into demons, but he can control and create every single Akuma that comes his way. And not only that, he has full reign and control of the Noahs themselves. And this isn't even to bring up how he can manipulate dark matter and use it to completely destroy continents and create armies of Akuma that are the size of skyscrapers. The Millennium Earl is the leader and the strongest of the Noah for good reason.